Hi family, welcome back and thank you for being here. Today we officially launch off our Freedom Friday, which I'm super excited about because I thought this would be a great time to tell you about my entrepreneurship journey and what I learned from it. I also want to keep this relatively short, so I'm not going into all of the stories. I really want to give you guys dense information of everything that I learned that I feel like has molded me and built me to where I am today, and also why entrepreneurship is something that I really, really love. So when I was a child, I was a really stubborn kid. I was always looking for loopholes and ways to get around my parents and get what I want. So it was a little bit tough, but I was one of those kids that felt like all you need to do is ask, and you're never gonna know unless you ask. And sometimes you can ask over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because all you really need is one yes, and one yes will give you the green light to go. So I was also the type of person, and even now still, to never really look at something and say, oh, I can't do that. The question's always been like, if I don't know how to do that now, how do I do that? And in that light, being a very stubborn child, I was often very successful in my arguments or the things that I found or any of the sports or activities that I wanted to play. So this mindset carried over into my interactions with people starting off very, very young. I started accumulating a lot of mentors or people who were willing to invest their time helping give me knowledge and wisdom because I asked. It was a common event that I would sit down with somebody that I thought was successful or knew something that I wanted to know and let them talk my ear off for as long as they would let me sit there. And it was something that allowed me to gain a lot of mentorship in my life and have a different, broader perspective than how I was raised or what I had thought life should have been. A lot of you guys know that I had sort of a rough childhood, and in that I wanted something different. There was something deep down that knew that I didn't have to live that story and that something could be different, but I knew that in that difference I needed to figure out and find out what that was outside of the life that I was living in, or that bubble. So I grew up, went to college, I had a lot of successes and failures in sports and in school and athletics, but I finally got to school and got into network marketing. I had a good friend who was really successful at it, so I actually quit college to go into network marketing. And what I learned there was the business mindset. And you guys might know that I really love network marketing, especially if you're just starting to get into entrepreneurship, because they give you a system that allows you to sort of see what it's like to build a business from ground up. You're also supported by a great amount of people who are excited, who have done it, who can be mentors, and also exposed to seminars and events where, I grew up listening to Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, and more in these network marketing company events. So that in and of itself was invaluable. So it taught me the business mindset, but it also taught me to take action. And it also taught me eventually that network marketing, or like one solitary vehicle or pathway to get to where I wanted to, was not necessarily just saved for one thing, meaning that there were many different paths. And ultimately I realized that I could work really hard at network marketing, or I could find something that I really truly enjoyed and work equally as hard at that. So I left network marketing and decided to go into financial advising. And I started off as a secretary. I wanted to be hired or become an intern because I wanted to know the ins and outs from the best leaders in the market. And what I learned from there was kind of more of what a real job felt like. I clocked in, I clocked out every day for 8 to 10 hours a day. I was in an office doing paperwork, sitting behind a desk. And on top of that, I had a second job at a restaurant, and I was working all day, all the time to make money and spend a lot of money. And I just realized that the 9-to-5 thing was for sure something that I really didn't want to do. I also decided that financial advising wasn't really for me. So I went back to a minimum wage job. At this point, my parents were begging me to go back to school and do the right thing and stop living with my head in the clouds. But I really knew that I didn't want to go back to school and come out of debt to just get a good job and work up the corporate ladder. That was something that was really solid in my mind that I had learned over the recent years. So I started creatively thinking. And at At this point, I had my fitness license or my personal training license. I had a couple of them because I was going through my own personal journey. And as an information seeker, I acquired the license for my own knowledge and not really to train. But I realized that I could have the opportunity to train rather than sitting at my minimum wage job and exercising knowledge that I really loved and was encouraged and inspired by. So I decided to try out being a personal trainer. And this is when I learned that I really sucked at marketing and communication. And that was the one thing that one of my mentors told me that I really should get good at. And so I failed miserably. I ended up being in debt, not being able to pay my bills. So I was living out of my car for 4 months out of the year. And I got so desperate and realized I needed to seek mentors. I needed to talk to people who could give me some advice or something new to get me out of my own current state of mind and broaden my perspective so that I could know what it was that I was doing wrong. I was fortunate enough to be able to meet up with the gentleman who owned the gym that I was paying to personal train at and not making any money, but he was super nice and said that he was building a franchise and would love to use me as a case study if I was willing to take action in what he said I should do for my marketing. And this really solidified the idea that if you can find somebody who's already done something that you like or want to do, even if it's something small, this person doesn't have to be knowledgeable at everything. They only need to know or have known how to get to where it is you want to get. And this came from network marketing, and it came from just my history in having mentors and asking questions and realizing that a lot of times when people have already done what it is that I want to do and they're willing to tell me what it is that I need to do, that they're not typically wrong and they don't typically lie. People want to share their passion and their craft, and they want to feel like they can contribute outside of their selfish self. You know, if at the end of the day, once you reach a certain level of success, all that shallow materialistic stuff isn't as rewarding as contributing to something on a more meaningful and deeper level. And a lot of these people who are successful really want to do that. It makes them feel really good about themselves and the amount of time they've spent perfecting their craft. So from there, I made some couple tweaks in my marketing per my mentor's advice, and within a month or two, I was making great money. And I did have to work really hard around the clock for just a month or two, but after that I was solid and I felt really good because this was the first time that I really supported myself based on my own income, and I generated this on my own without a job or without a boss helping me out. After that, I realized that all the skills that I learned over time build up, and it becomes like riding a bike, so to speak. It's not that any of my experiences went to waste. What actually happened was they accumulatively came together and added this whole well-rounded sort of balanced picture to what I am today and everything that I've experienced up to this point. And I like to relate it to XP points in, let's say, a video game or like any of those iPhone games that we might play. When you gain a lot of experience or XP points, that allows you to level up. And the same thing holds true for business and personal life, which is ultimately why I love entrepreneurship. So at this point in my life, I realized, looking back, that when I was 19 years old, all I really wanted to do was make a certain goal. Let's say that goal for you is to simply be an entrepreneur and to support yourself generating your own income. Then the next goal might be that you want to make a certain amount of money given a certain amount of time for work. And what you realize is you never truly arrive. There's never really a destination. You just continue to improve and level up. And that's ultimately the difference between people who reach a certain level of success versus people who don't even make it to success or hang out at this certain point of success. It all depends on how much you're willing to keep moving forward, keep pressing on, continue to grow, and continue to pursue that path of growth and recalibration, as I like to call it. It's like looking at a professional athlete who wants to continue to be the best that they can be, who wants to continue to make it to the top. I like to say strive for perfection, but realize that in doing so, perfection will never really truly exist. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't believe entrepreneurship is for everyone. When I first started, I would have said that was the case, but now being on this journey, it is a long and hard road. But ultimately, why I love the entrepreneurship path is because I truly believe that your wealth, whether in your business and financial life, and totality in your personal life, in your relationships, in your health, is directly reflected on the health of your perspective and internal well-being. A lot of people like to say that successful people or rich people are greedy and they're not really good people, and I wish that I could agree with that, but I've never actually truly seen it. And I'm not saying those people don't exist out there. I've heard of them, but a lot of times they tend to fall from their pedestal rather quickly without the means or the tools or resources to get back up and build themselves up there. So I really love entrepreneurship because it helps me become a better person. It helps push me and challenge me in ways that help me grow in a very healthy way and also in a very productive way. And a lot of people can relate to this, maybe not in entrepreneurship, but if you're an athlete or you're in a competition or anything that you do to get yourself out there to really push, you realize it's something that's super healthy and super good for you and great for your confidence and your empowerment, and it just really translates to your own life. So I hope that all these thoughts in the course of the last 1.5 decades of my life help add value to you, and I hope that you like hearing this. If you guys are on any journey, whether it's entrepreneurship or sports and athletics or whatever it is you do, mission trips, I'd love to hear what gets you to be challenged and to grow in your life down in the comments below. And if you are an entrepreneur, I would love to hear some other things that you may have learned on your journey that helps keep you moving forward, because ultimately our lives are just that. We live in the moment of now, and we have an opportunity right now to choose whether or not we want to add value to our life or take away value. And it's in those choices that ultimately build our lives. I love the way Gary Vee puts it, which is that there's never that one point that sort of tips everything over, tips the bucket. They're little bricks, and every moment is a brick that you lay, and you choose what kind of wall you want to build. So anyways, that's all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'm super excited for Freedom Friday, and if you guys like this video, please hit thumbs up, and thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the family. Let's all remember to be good, be great, and be grateful. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great weekend. Ciao.